Morning. Kellen here. They say no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy. And saw a Ghost in the Shell last night and went and buy this startup that is for veterans, which is awesome. Like, it's a startup incubator for veterans. And so they had that same thing written there, except it said no business plan. It said no battle plan, and then in parentheses, business plan survives first strike with the enemy, and then quote unquote the market. So for me, it was operations. We're on day 2 of this challenge that I've put for myself and planned on doing on my other site, our other page channel, Unstoppable Fitness. So I in perfect engineering terms, I went and planned it all out without even getting my first video out. So I recorded some pieces for marketing. A big part of this for me is building a page and list building, and having kind of a constant flow of traffic into that eventually. That's eventually what I'd like to do with this challenge, is to build a following, build traffic, and eventually get them into my own place, like my own list of people that I can market to, whatever the changes are. I don't know if any of you've been involved in Facebook marketing or other stuff before, but like you used to have a certain quote unquote ownership over the people who followed your pages and all that. But now, if you put out a message, you still have to pay to have those messages seen, even by people who follow you or in your groups, etc. So it's like the idea is eventually you want to be able to get all the traffic that you can going into a place where you actually have control over your contact with them. So for me, that's looking at building this YouTube channel, using specific keywords for rankings, etc., driving them back to my webpage and blog, which will have keyword specific posts, etc. But good content. That the plan all along is to actually have something that is like of real value to people, but happens to focus on keywords that people are searching for. So from there, leading them into an opt-in page where they can sign up for my email and get free gifts and other stuff. We've got people on the trail behind me and in front. Anyway, so what got done yesterday? I've still got 120 days to go of YouTube videos because I made 4 videos yesterday, and 2 of them are for this challenge. 2 of them were for the opt-in / marketing piece that I was working on. So I got 2 of them uploaded, and they're both on unlisted status because I'm going to use them in my WordPress page and that kind of thing. So that's good. I made progress. Here's the place like where I'm at, right? I'm looking at, I built out a full process. I went back and looked at some of the older stuff that I'd done years and years ago, and like how organized in terms of processes I was around. I was first learning search engine optimization from Ed Dale and his 30-day challenge. This was years ago. By the way, I reached out to him, and hopefully we're going to be on the podcast soon so I can get some marketing advice from the awesome Ed Dale. Anyway, I'll link to his new thing in the bottom of this video. He's doing redoing the challenge that I started with back in the day. I'd built a website up to $1,000 a month, and then Google had a change in their ranking algorithm, and it went down to 32 cents in a month, and I was devastated. So I got distracted by that. But anyway, he's got the challenge coming back under. He's got a new book for free called "Your 30 Days, Your First Dollar." So it's the idea that you have to make your first dollar before you can make your first 100,000, before you can make your first million, etc. So in any business, that it's going to be the same. And so he's great at breaking down processes. He's got a podcast as well that you can listen to him kind of troubleshoot with people the whole way through, and it's awesome. He's got such a great coaching style that is like very beginner friendly is the way I'd put it. He's amazing at that piece of really he's got his big wins, and at the same time he still is able to really talk to somebody who's just getting started, and that's awesome. So anyway, I had reached out to him because he was asking for podcast guests, and hopefully we're gonna do something soon. Anyway, I was looking back at what I'd done back then, and I built out a whole bunch of processes. So what I did yesterday was I set up a Google Docs spreadsheet with kind of my workflow for this challenge, so that I can really factoryize it, if you will. Like, it's got the checklist of all the things I need to do for the SEO. It's got the so I can keep it organized and keep it understood what I'm doing at scale, right? That's the idea. Is once it gets to a certain size, I want to be able to outsource smaller pieces of it to a VA eventually. This is what I did in the past when I got my website up to 1,000 people. I'd started doing all the pieces myself, and then eventually, because I had it so systematized, I was able to say, okay, here's a training video for you, you do this, here's a training video for you, you do this. And eventually it was hands off, and I was able to keep growing that for less than the money that I was making. So it was great. I think that's one of the reasons it was so devastating to get hit with a loss of so much traffic, and I hadn't really been building a list in the same way. So that's a learning that I'm taking here, is I'm going to be building this email list this time, so that if there is a change in whatever algorithms that are out of my control, I can at least continue to have traffic and an audience that I have direct contact with, who have gotten value from me, and that I can continue to communicate with. So that's the plan. So yesterday was a whole bunch of engineeringizing and organizing, etc., like nerding out on spreadsheets and workflows and all that. And I did a ton of keyword research, which is not as easy as it used to be, because all these tools now are paid. So you have to, it took me a while to find the tools that are still out there for keyword research that I could use for free and then work through them. So what I was doing was figuring out long tail keywords that fit with my market, finding the ones that have good search traffic and low competition and or high CPC value. So this is cost per click value. The idea behind this is you want keywords with enough search volume and high CPC, because that means that people in the market have deemed that people searching for these things are looking to make some kind of purchase in the future. So there's the providing value as much as I can, and then there's also providing value in a place where people are going to or willing to spend money in the future. So that's, the CPC is just a measure of am I looking for underwater basket weaving, or am I looking for something that's actually going to solve somebody's problem? So yeah, I compiled a huge list of keywords that I'm going to use as my seeds for videos. So these keywords are going to go in the title, the video name, the description name, and these are just basic SEO things. And then I'm going to give my experience on each of those keywords. So, for example, you'll see a video on deadlift grip strength. So that's a keyword that I'd identified, and I've got a lot of experience with that. I was a power lifter that got to 515 pounds deadlift in competition, which, in the powerlifting world, probably not that much, but in the regular person world, that's a hell of a lot. So I've got stuff to teach, and when I continue to build that, I'll get higher and higher, but at least I've got the knowledge of okay, what do you do when your deadlift gets to the place where the only factor missing is your hands, your hands just can't hold on. So I did a long video on all the ways to increase that, providing whatever value that I've got on that subject and just putting it out there. So did that, did another video on another keyword, and I'll upload those in the next couple days. But one issue that I came up against, this is where the battle plan didn't meet it didn't survive the first attack with operations, I suppose, is that one of the key things that I need to do here is change the video file name. And I don't know if you've ever tried this, But on an iPhone, it's almost impossible. So I'm pretty sure that people do it on Android or something. I have not found a way. Please, if you know how to change the file name of a picture or video on an iPhone, like actually change the file name, not just put a description over a file name, which is img-00723 or whatever, like, please tell me, because I haven't found a way to do it except for uploading the file to a separate like cloud server that I've got, and then changing the file name down there and then re-downloading it. So that's my workflow right now, and that the amount of time that it took to do the upload was prohibitively a problem yesterday. And went to a movie. Like I can't get away from that. Went to a movie and yeah, did not get it finished. So what I'm coming up against here, and what I wanted to actually do this video for, was to recognize that one, there's a resistance to starting, right? I'm trying to count for you. One, there's a resistance to starting. It's a challenge. It's 120 days. I know that there's part of my mind that's like, 120 days? That is a long damn time. So, and normally I do things in baby steps. I'd say, let me do this for 1 week so I can trick myself into like, oh, it's not. But, there's a place where I want to be jumping over this hurdle of 120 days and not approaching it in that, that little way. So there's resistance. There's also, so how does that resistance show up? It's me over planning. It's me focusing on the other things. It's focusing on the my opt-in funnel, my report, my video, my small product on the other side. Like, so I did all of those things yesterday. I got a lot of pieces in place. I got a lot of pieces for the website set up, etc. And then I made a process which will help me be more efficient in the future. I know that. And I still didn't get the one video up. So what I probably should have done was avoided perfection and just gotten the one up. Anyway, the other reason for doing this video, though, is to recognize that even though day one didn't work out, I can still look at what was accomplished on day one and not let the maybe shame or disappointment with self. Like, these are things that I've noticed for me, and I've noticed in a lot of the people that I either coach or work with, that like, if it's not perfect or if I didn't do it right, then I shouldn't do it at all, right? Like, it's this all or nothing thinking type of thing that I'm prone to personally, and I know other people are as well, that doesn't have to stop anything. So day one didn't work, quote unquote, in terms of getting the key piece up, but I did do other things, and I can just start the clock at 120 days starting today, because I've got all the other pieces in place now. I've got multiple videos in the queue, so it's just going to be working that process. So anyway, maybe it's an excuse, maybe it's a justification, but either way, we'll see. Going forward, I'm still looking forward to the challenge, and I'm feeling good, and outing myself in terms of where I'm resistant to it, and just noticing my own internal stuff is good. It's a good reflection for me, because one, I always feel that there's a place where what I have that I think is of value might not be of value to anybody, and then like, if I put it out there, am I just getting in the way? So I don't know if you resonate with any of those thoughts. It's probably just my insane brain, the way that I work, but yeah, there's this self-doubt thing that I don't know where it comes from, and I just work with it, I guess. So seeing it's that whole idea of in Buddhism, there's this idea of inviting more Myra to tea. It's seeing your thoughts and like the negative thoughts and all that, and just like recognizing them as being there and saying like, oh, I wonder why that thought is there, and realizing that the thought isn't you. So anyway, got a little bit woo-woo there, but if you meditate, you probably have an inkling of what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm gonna end this video. Let me know what your takeaway is. If you're watching this, if there's somebody here, give me a like, subscribe if you want to hear my ramblings more, And in the comments, like, let me know what's a takeaway from this. Have you had a challenge where you've stopped, like you've felt a big surge of motivation, started something, and then not followed through? If so, let's talk about it. Just let me know in the comments. It's what I'm trying to say here is that a small setback or a small, like a failure to launch, failure to start, doesn't have to be anything permanent. It doesn't have to be anything more than a 5-minute setback. So I know that this comes up for people who are trying to lose weight, like, oh, I had, I broke my diet for this meal, so now the rest of the week is blown. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Have a great one.